Suns by 13 at the half. Chris Paul, 11 points and 10 assists. LeBron James, 11 points and 3 fouls. But the storyline clearly here, Dwight Howard and Anthony Davis on the bench for the Lakers. Getting into it, it's not exactly clear yet over what. Michael Wilbon, how do we read this?
We read this as Dwight Howard has been on a different team, it seems like each of the last 20 years. Okay, maybe it's been like 7. But he seems to wear out his welcome at some point during that year, even on good teams. The Lakers don't have time for this. You bring in old guys, you bring in veterans, smart veteran players, do the smart veteran things, right?
Old grumpy guys, both top 75. Dwight on the fringe of getting in. Everybody talking about why didn't he get in? No big deal. In there at halftime, they talking about it, trying to get ready for the second half.
Let me tell you what is a big deal about it.
No big deal.
You're Dwight Howard. I like Dwight Howard. Look at me right now, Dwight Howard. I would strongly advise you not to get on the nerves of Anthony Davis. You are lucky to be in this league. Now, I think he should be. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a major contributor when he's focused. But if you find yourself on the outside looking in and Anthony Davis got a problem with you, remember, it wasn't too long ago where Dwight Howard was wondering whether or not he'd have a job in the NBA. Landed with the Lakers, won a title, ended up going to Philly. They bring him back. You still making minimum, veteran minimum over $2 million. This is Anthony Davis we talk about here. Do not mess that up, because you get let go by the Lakers, your career might be over quick.
Oh, by the way, they're down 13 points at the half to the Suns.
Welcome back to NBA Countdown, presented by Mountain Dew.
All right, after all of that, they've got a game to play tonight. We're just a few minutes away from the Nets and the Sixers. And, of course, the Nets are playing without Kyrie Irving. So which team needs to make the bigger statement without their star on the floor tonight?
Oh, it has to be the Nets, because they've already lost to the Bucks, and you don't want to lose to the Sixers, because I already believe without Kyrie Irving, the Bucks and the Sixers have potential to be better than Brooklyn.
And the Sixers,
Kyrie Irving
however,
isn't playing.
What are the Sixers without Ben Simmons? They were the 1 seed in the East last year, Michael Wilbon, without Ben Simmons for an indefinite period of time. What are the Sixers?
They're on a crusade, first of all, tonight. Well, I can't disagree with what Jalen just said. I'm looking at that crusade as being necessary on their home court in Philadelphia with all that's at stake. You know, Joel Embiid feels a certain kind of way about what he thinks that team should do tonight without Ben Simmons. And I think Philadelphia, let's not turn Ben Simmons into Bill Russell. He's a terrific player now. I mean, they didn't win anything. How many playoff series has he won? 1? So let's not go too crazy over Simmons and what Philadelphia.
No Kyrie, they not beating the Bucks or the Nets.
I feel you on that. Here's the deal, and I don't blame you for saying that. I don't believe that, though. I believe in KD. I believe in James Harden. And I'm willing to go as far as to say this, Jalen. Here's where I throw a bone in your direction.
Thank you.
If the Brooklyn Nets with James Harden and KD can't find them ways themselves out of the Eastern Conference, we need to look at Steve Nash, because coaching matters. Coaching matters. Last year, when he managed KD's minutes or mismanaged KD's minutes, and KD was exhausted, we paid attention to that. James Harden was healthy. Remember, we're assuming James Harden, KD are going to be healthy this year. If they are healthy, you understand? And they coming together. I believe they got the talent to beat anybody.
So we're talking about the Bucks, who just won the championship,
yes,
the Heat, who have Eric Spoelstra, and the Sixers, who have Doc Rivers.
We will find out what they are tonight. We're getting set to go out there. Mike Breen, Mark Jackson, and Cassidy Hubbard have the call. It's the Nets and the Sixers. Enjoy the game. We'll see you at the half.
That's right.
Carmelo Anthony's debut started great, 8 points in the first half. He finished with 9 total. Anthony Davis is preaching patience. He knows how difficult it can be to meet expectations on your first night in purple and gold. Lakers and Suns get reacquainted at Staples Center. Phoenix won their first-round playoff series 5 months ago in 6 games. The rematch tips off at 7 o'clock right here on Spectrum Sports. Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet Lakers, brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. I'm Chris McGee. I got a 7-time champion right here, Robert Horry. I got a Hall of Famer and a top 75 all-time Mr. Big Game James Worthy. Congratulations.
What's up? Thank you.
On that, big
Thank
fella.
You very much. Get the big shot
fella.
clap.
Big fella.
The big shot clap.
Big fella. We got Allie and Brez. They're going to join us in a little bit. We got Mike Trudell giving us the latest. That's coming up in a few moments. But, guys, I hate to do it. But this is what we got to start with. Injury. THT is out with a thumb. Be reevaluated in what, 3 weeks? Ariza, he's out for a couple of months. Wayne Ellington out, hamstring, and this is the one that got me. Kendrick Nunn out, reevaluated 3 weeks from now for a new injury. Bone bruise in the right knee. I'm going to breathe, Big Shot. In big game, not ready for these kind of reports, but this is a big one. He's needed, and we just have not gotten to see him enough in the preseason. And just per reports of how well he was playing in camp, so this one hurts a little bit.
Yeah, very unfortunate. You would think after the last 2 years, coming out of the bubble, difficult 71-day turnaround, a quick season, a lot of injuries occurred, because the bodies just didn't have a chance to recuperate. And I don't know that for sure, but I think a lot of those injuries happen because of that. And, just when you think you're ready to get a good season, a good, full, healthy season, you have, 4 players going down, particularly Nunn, who a lot of people thought was going to be a defensive guy who could come in and play tough defense and also create his own shot. When he gets hot from 3, he can knock him down. He was going to be a big addition. So not to take anything away from Ellington, of course. And, of course, we know Tucker with the thumb. We know how valuable he is. And not to have, those guys at the beginning of the season when you're trying to gel, when everyone's trying to still learn one another, it really sets them back just a little bit. So it's difficult. They got enough, I think, to make up for it. But it's still tough when you're missing those guys early.
I don't think we plan on losing youth early on, Rob. Right? Like THT and Kendrick Nunn. I just wasn't banking on that,
It's weird that everybody this offseason was talking about the Lakers' age and them staying healthy.
How old they are.
And here you are, the young guys are the ones who get injured. But sometimes, old guys have been through the battle so much that these injuries don't happen like they think they have because their body is used to the pounding, their bodies are used to the crazy schedule. So these young guys are the ones that sometimes get injured on freak accidents because their bodies haven't adhered to all the punishment it has to take. So for me, I look at Nunn being out as one of those guys that you can provide instant offense. I thought him and Monk coming off the bench would be 2 young guys. They can give you a lot of energy because sometimes when you're the older guy, you need that spark plug in the young guy to push you over there. I know Westbrook is one of those guys who really don't need one, but I'm talking about AD. I'm talking about DJ. I'm talking about all these guys who use initials to call them out on this show.
Yeah, the other thing that I don't like about his injury is that they're going to reevaluate. It's not like he'll be back in 3 to 4 weeks.